Hello again, and welcome to Void Signal. I am your host, Brian Prime, and this week's guest, Skull Cultist, is one of the headliners for Mechanismus Festival 2025, where you can also catch Void Signal live. Come play some trivia, win some prizes, and make some memories with people you don't know, and it'll be fun. You can also catch me performing opening night with Skull Cultist. Both myself and Associate Hollingsworth will be getting on stage at El Corazon to perform a very special song. I will also be doing Void Signal Live at Dark Force Fest in May. We'll have a chat, do some trivia, have some laughs, share some moments together. And you can also catch me later this year at Gloam Fest in San Francisco in September, or Wasteland Weekend, end of September. Please say hello. I will give you things. It's like a reward just for spotting me in a crowd, which is so easy because I'm so big. So please do so, and I will give you something for it. This week's guest is Steve Saunders. Steve is a father, a partner, musician, artist, and the list goes on. He hosts his own podcast, Galaxy in Flames, about Warhammer 30K, and I have to admire Steve's production. His own theme song and soundscapes really help make it pop. Steve was nice enough to lend me his talent on my Halloween episode this year. He'll be kicking off Mechanismus Festival this May under his recording moniker, Skull Cultist. But before we have a chat with Steve, I'm going to guilt trip you about Void Signal again. Void Signal is ad-free and powered by people. You can help keep it that way and support independent media by joining the Void Signal Patreon. Visit voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal to sign up for as little as $2. That's $24 a year to help me and the Void Gang keep doing this. Thank you so much for your consideration. Okay. Our time is at an end. Enjoy this discussion with Mr. Steve, and thank you so much to Adam Jones from Mortal Realm for the intro song remix. You can catch Mortal Realm at Mechanismus Festival in May. Until next time, stay safe, stay loud.
How's my distance on the mic? How do I sound?
You sound fine. I'm going to turn you up a little on my side.
Okay, so, better that me gaining it up, yeah. Can always go up, can't go down.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, if you ever do lighting in film, it's the opposite. You can always go down, but you can't go up.
Oh, I see.
So if you're ever in a situation, like a terror situation where they're like, you must do lighting now, or you destroy New York City, you're like, okay, cool.
Okay, good to know. Excellent.
Yeah, it's good. Excellent stuff to know. Random facts.
Yeah, no, I love random facts.
Yeah. How you doing, though?
I'm good.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah, it's nice to finally have a chat. We've been Facebook friends for a long time now. We can go ahead and start. I'm already recording, but I can do just like a quick intro if you're ready.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this thing where I like tell people who the guest is or whatever.
Like an introduction.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like professional or something. Apparently, other podcasts do that. I guess I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
We do.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm following along. Welcome to Void Signal. I'm your host, Brian Prime. I'm joined by Steve Saunders. You record as Skull Cultist. You also host a Warhammer 40K podcast called Galaxy in Flames. And you're a husband and a father. And what else do you do? What else is there to Steve Saunders?
Well, hello. It's great to be here, by the way. This is one of my favorite podcasts. This is awesome.
Thank you so much.
It's my birthday. This is like the coolest
birthday. Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday.
Thanks, buddy. Like it's been great. It's been great day. It's a 30 podcast. It's mostly focuses on the horse heresy stuff. But I mean, that nerding out aside, I'm also a cat dad. I do a project with my partner, Nicole, called Orthocaris. It's like dark ambient soundtracky stuff. And other bands, which aren't quite previous bands, because I still do them once in a while, is Mr. Zoth and the Were Spiders and Club Evader. And another thing called 40 Watt Range. I'm a lifelong nerd. I'm from the Seattle scene, lived in Victoria for 17 years. I've done a lot of shit. I do everything from work in film. I worked at a vape store. I worked in the comic book industry. I do all kinds of stuff. So
all kinds of stuff.
We are but mainly, I guess if anybody's tuning in, if they just don't know me, Steve, Skull Cultist. Yeah, that's
and hopefully anybody tuning in, and if they don't know you, I don't often recommend friending people on Facebook. Most people aren't refriending. That's shitty. I don't mean that, but I sort of do. But you are a person worth having on my friends list. Was you wound up on there somehow years ago, it feels like. And part of the reason that I've been aware of Skull Cultist and what you're doing and everything for a while, but part of what, and to be candid with you, part of what made me go like, okay, now that I have some actual time in my schedule, like the list of things I want to accomplish in my mind, now that that has been checked off and I have some space for other things, your Facebook posts are thoughtful and articulate, and you usually offer some valuable insight or some sage wisdom, and in a way that's not maybe as smarmy or condescending as I feel like I tend to come across as. So I do have to say that, like, just as a commentary on your character, it is what your brain is what made me go like this. Have this guy on. Like, he's gonna say some things that might be worth hearing.
You fool! I fooled you. No.
I fell for it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's wow. That's awesome. I guess you could say who I am on social media is who I am in person. And wow, that's I almost don't know how to quite respond to that, but thank you. That's rad. Like I also don't think you're smarmy or condescending. Really
Thank you.
Your post, like I usually get a laugh, and that's good. I mean, all you can do is laugh, right? And we're all just going to the grave that we can't afford. So we might, So I always appreciate your post, dude.
Thank you.
Always funny. Your meme game is strong. Dig it, and your podcasts are fucking rad. So
thanks, man.
When you said like, hey, do you want to be on the show? I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Well, I do want to touch upon the things that make you you. So let's start with Skull Cultist, which is kind of would you say that's like your main baby?
Yeah, it's become my main baby. I didn't really expect it to be. It was supposed to be another dark ambient side project.
Mm-hmm.
I did like a remix of one of my own tracks, of a Mr. Zoth track. And then I wanted to turn it into a rhythmic noise project. I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing with it. And then sorry, it's going to get a bit depressing here, but my friend who joined as of Terminus 2017, my best buddy, Ruby Parker, who did like the Hardcore Rituals cover, very talented individual, joined my bands and mainly in a live capacity, but then also joined Club Evader and Mr. Zoth in a collaborator capacity. Anyway, their wife sadly passed away due to cancer. And I was also tight with Vicky, and she was a wonderful human being. And naturally, Ruby was very, it was a time like I just wanted to focus on, I didn't want to like bring those other band stuff. And so I have a solo project. And so I suppose it's like they were saying to me a while back, it's sort of fitting that I would focus on Skull Cultist because it's macabre and grim and dark. And that was the catalyst to Skull Cultist actually became. That's how Blood Carvings came about. And then So Happy. And like I just started doing these EPs, and then strangely, people liked it. I don't know why. I like listening to it, but it's my music. So,
Sure.
And then it's just kind of took off from there, and it's become my primary focus. And also Ruby is now in the live, like it's been a couple years, and there was a lot of stuff they went through, and it was a process. And they have a project called Durance Vile that's really good. And, it's like, so we're still tight and involved, but they encouraged me to say, they're like, you need to focus. I'm like, should we do another Club Evader album? And they're like, no, you should focus on Skull Cultist. Let's go that direction. I'm like, okay, cool. So that's nice. The convoluted story behind that.
I feel like a lot of art projects are bittersweet in some way or the other. Like I feel they're either birthed from pain or trauma or something, or they're being used to cope with in some way. I feel like a lot of art is just sort of a representation of human emotion. And so pain is a big component of a lot of the things people make. Some of our most beloved art is born of that. How much does that still play into your mindset when you go to make music for it now, if at all?
Well, that's an excellent question. Every aspect, like you were saying, I agree with everything you're saying. All art is a reflection of the human psyche or soul, if you believe in that kind of thing, or character. I'm more of an existential nihilist. So I would say character, but soul, just for lack of a better term. It's that reflection and projection. And so every single every iota of Skull Cultist is me and my feelings. Like, for instance, so happy that track became about my cat that we lost. That was Luna a couple years ago. I mean, I'm sad right now thinking about it. It's devastating. And so, and everyone else that I've lost, you know, and that like my partner is lost, and like people we've lost in our lives. And there's just a lot of stuff going on, and that comes out. I know it's just like one line basically repeated over and over again, not exactly complex lyrically, but like the whole it's one of those, whether it's my dorkiness, like it's like say Thirster, which is just Warhammer 40k samples, or like Break That Fucker, that's inspired by living in Spokane, Washington in the 90s.
I don't think something has to be complex to be deep or profound or beautiful or magnificent. I think
I agree.
You know, simple is simple is more than enough. Sometimes it's just the manner in which it was used, I guess, is like knowing, you know, you can have a big canvas that's mostly one color, but where you put a second color or any other thing on that canvas is what makes it art, right? Is like how you use it. So I think that I just wanted to like real quickly pause on that because it was a thing I tried to impart to students when I was tutoring at the University of Nevada. Sometimes less is more. Like you don't have to like, you know, anyway, go on, please.
Oh, I agree. It's strange coming from me because more than one person, including Nicole, were like, "You don't shut the fuck up, Steve," and yet you have very few lyrics in your stuff. But like, yeah, I'm doing more with lyric stuff like that, but less is more. I do like minimalism. Anybody that listens to Skull Cultist it's like there's a bass line, there's a beat, and samples, and sometimes they get complex, but it doesn't always have to be complex because then it could be mud and you don't really get the point across. Like Spokane was very violent when I grew up there, or not grew up there, I lived there. My latter years, younger years, were in Eastern Washington, and it was a very violent place. Like when I go to like Detroit, people would tell me, you know, you're from Spokane, that place is fucked up. Spokane was an extremely violent town in the 90s, and I got a big mouth, so I can fight okay. Every track has a story behind it, like with any band. Like, I mean, it's like not special in that way, but every piece of me is in the mixing. I get lost in the weeds with delays, but every little bit, sound, echo, and grit that you hear in there is intentional and is exactly what I want in there, and that allows a story. Which is when I talk to other musicians and also audio engineers. Same thing, you know. So when you get an album from someone, you're getting usually, especially if they did everything themselves, you're getting a story. They produced it themselves. They wrote it themselves. They mastered it themselves. If they're that foolish. For my next one, I'm hiring a masterer. But like, so like, you know, it is a tapestry of your soul, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah. So.
Very well put. Very eloquent. Agreed. Yeah. On that note, real quick, the mastering it yourself. There are people I know that I like very much, that I love their music. I think they're doing something awesome and fresh and cool. And there's a part of me that just wants to very politely and very gently sort of, you know, please have someone else master this. Like what you have made is so cool and so awesome, but it just needs someone else to sort of pick up the highlights and go over your brushstrokes for you and just sort of refresh what's there.
Yeah. One of my many jobs I use to pay the bills is editing, right? I edit words, like I've done manuscripts, memoirs, etc. And I'm also a writer and a copywriter. And you can't edit your own stuff. You can try, but you're going to miss things because how it's reading in your head and what you're seeing on the page or the screen, as it were, it's going to be different. Same goes for music and stuff like that. And while I say I mastered my last album myself, I kind of didn't though, because I got a lot of advice from Colin Cameron, Mark from like these are mastering engineers. I've gotten tips from like Martin from Attrition, and they've told me the secret sauce of exporting your master bus, etc., and learning all that. But I still like, for the next one, I still would like to get Colin to do that so I can get another take on it because they understand. I've learned a lot. I know not to sound like king shit or whatever, but I've learned a lot. I know a lot, but I still don't know like certain things that they know inside and out. Like Colin, for instance, is a fucking genius level audio engineer because that's how he pays. That's how he pays his bills. So while I may never have a producer because I no shade on anyone who has a producer. I got a friend that does producing for people. And it's great stuff, and I respect their music. But for me, I'm very DIY. I like to be in control of that, and I can't do it. So, but mastering, I'm cool with like somebody else doing that, just so it plays on all systems and blah blah blah. Because they'll drive around their car, they'll do all kinds of stuff to make sure it sounds good and consistent. So yeah, I would recommend anybody, whether you're a writer or a musician or an editor,
because you can't trust yourself with it. Because there was instances where not that long ago, I had an offer from, speaking of brilliant audio engineers, shout out Phil Gonzo, who reached out to me and was like, hey man, I do this shit all the time. Let me send you some presets and, on how to master your audio and bring up this and bring up that. And this is what this will do. And it helped me understand a lot better. And at first I had that moment of like, well, how does this sound better than what I was doing? Until I go back and I listen to it in earnest and, really like, okay, this is much warmer, or this is crisper, or sounds more clear, or whatever. But I mean, like you said, and I do agree with very much so, editing yourself it's difficult to do, and I'm terrible at it. Like it inhibits so much of my writing because I'm doing it as I go. And that's, so that by the time I'm done, I have 3 sentences that I'm happy with, but I've edited out in my brain a dozen others or whatever. And that's so time consuming.
It is like, and I do understand budgets. Like I am a shoestringer. I am like my father. I'm a frugal motherfucker. And moving to Canada was perfect because they're all frugal up here too. So I do get it. Like if people have budgetary restrictions and stuff, but if you can get mastering done, don't do auto mastering, get a human being to do it. If they're offering you like $10 a track or $20 a track, that is like bottom of the barrel, but like totally do it. My friend Tess does good mastering as well. And so I think it's worth it.
Just real quick, all the names we've mentioned, Colin from Slider, I interviewed him not that long ago, and Phil Gonzo, reach out to people, ask them, like they will, ask. Like people are usually like, you never know what answer you'll get.
Yeah, and most people are totally cool, and I mean, people got to make a living, but like, it doesn't mean they're gonna like say they might refer you to someone else, or give you tips or whatever. Be cool. Don't go in demanding it. It's not
pay people for their time and their expertise.
Yeah, and be cool as fuck when you do it. Like, don't be demanding or whatever. Be nice. Just treat them how you want to be treated, and it'll all come out Millhouse. It's all good.
Yeah, so, it is strange how demanding people can be with a thing that is not theirs.
Yes.
Amazing. But anyway, okay, great. That's a lot. We covered a lot of ground.
That's right. Interview is over.
Yeah, all done. Okay, so how long have you been doing Galaxy in Flames, your podcast?
Oh gosh, about a year actually. Simon Berman is a good buddy of mine from Seattle, and they work in the role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game industry. Like he was part of Privateer Press with like War Machine. He was like their main PR guy. The guy that created War Machine for the guys that created the tabletop game. The guy that created the miniatures game, Jason Souls, is how me and Simon know each other, because Jason's a very old friend of mine. Anyway, so Simon does Strix Publishing, and I've done like soundtrack work for him for some of his Kickstarter projects. And then he was just saying like, I want to do a Horus Heresy podcast. He already does one called Brush Wielders Union, but you want to do one if somebody wants to do the production. And I'm like, well, I can produce podcasts because I was the guy that did all the work for podcast that was with somebody who was rightfully yeeted out of the scene. And we did like an industrial and nerd type podcast. And so I learned a lot on that. And then I just told Simon, yeah, I'll do it, man. And so Galaxy in Flames was born. I mean, Simon named it. His wife did our logo. I did like the music for it. And then, we just talk about Horus Heresy stuff with a little bit of like 40K and some like fantasy thrown in there because it's me, so we get off topic. But yeah, let's talk about miniatures and what's going on in the Horus Heresy community and novels and all that stuff. It's pretty deep nerd shit, but yeah.
Why just the Horus Heresy?
Well, there is a lot. Like that's what Simon.
There's a lot. Yeah. It's fucking most of it. Like it's a huge portion of this universe. But I just was curious why that in particular.
Well, Simon wanted to focus on the Horus Heresy because he's very passionate about the Horus Heresy, like because they have their own miniatures rules and miniatures. Because it takes place 10,000 years before the current Warhammer 40K timeline. So there's a lot of books. There's like 68 novels or some shit with Horus Heresy, and they just thought like a focus would be good. And there's just not a lot of Horus Heresy podcasts. I mean, there's some good ones out there from what I understand, but there's a fuckload of 40K stuff. Like you throw a fucking Power Armor boot, Mark 7 Power Armor boot out the window, you're gonna hit a 40K podcast. You know, I can talk about 40K and fantasy. I mean, I really love Warhammer Fantasy. Not an Age of Sigmar guy, but no shade. If you like Age of Sigmar, good for you. It's not really gotten into it myself. I've been into Warhammer since 1987, so since 40K launched. And I started with Warhammer Fantasy roleplay, but then I went right into 40K. So
old school nerd.
Oh yeah, I'm old, dude. Like I'm 49 today. I'm an old man. Yeah. So, and I agreed with Simon because having a focus is good, and there's a lot of material for like there's always releases and stuff for Heresy. So, and also it's it's hot Space Marine on Space Marine action. It's very focused. As a setting, and there's a lot of drama, and I got the Primarchs and all that jazz.
Yes. I did tune in to a recent episode because my question was answered, and
my gain was too high.
Asking which Primarch you go on a date with. I'm like, I was very impressed by the technical assembly of the whole podcast, like the sort of ambient noise in the background and ambient soundtrack components going on. It just.
Did you hear the part where I played a very slowed down version of Cruel Summer at the beginning? Because it's a cool summer. Anyway, I can't help myself.
I don't notice. I don't know if I recall noticing that.
Oh, it's a long podcast. Yeah. Okay. It's totally okay.
It is a long podcast. I'm not saying that disparagingly. Void Signal started off quite long with like 2-hour episodes or 3 hour. I did a 3-hour episode or something once, and I was
holy shit.
Editing that. I was like, I don't want to do this again.
And the key is not to edit it.
I tell myself that, but man, like that is the shittiest part of doing a podcast is sitting and editing that motherfucker. Like you can put filters on your microphone and you can sound dampen your space as much as you wish, but there's still going to be stuff that comes through, or you're still going to say a stupid thing or whatever that you want to quickly cut out. And it just takes ages. And it's the worst part of doing this. Like, it sucks, but
But it sounds good. I mean, the end result is always nice. I don't do a ton of. Sometimes I cut pops out, like in tongue clicking, if I see it in the waveform. But I edit fast. So luckily, Simon is an excellent co-host. He's better than I am. I'll look at mine like, ooh. I'll go through and just edit it like. But mainly, it's laying in like the backing track, which is even more ambient now because we got a couple of people rightfully complaining that the background music was too distracting, and it was still ambient, but apparently it was too exciting. So I created a very, very mellow soundtrack for the back, and then stick that in there, and then put in the Brush Wielders Union ad, and then maybe some little things here and there. But like going through and like editing, like when people like cut like pauses out and everything like that, I'm like, ooh, that takes a long time.
I go easy on cutting pauses because if you do it too much, it becomes unnatural. This is a thing I'm crafting. I'm the audio you hearing of the guest's answer. I want to remove gaps where they're excessive, but not so much that people don't understand that like this person is taking a moment to think, or like pauses and the things that occur between words are part of communication. So I think it's important to leave them where they occur. So even if somebody says, I might cut it, but I will leave a small space because I still want to denote to a listener that thinking is taking place here. And it's maybe being filled with a filler word or what is sometimes called a social stutter. And that is how people talk, myself included. This podcast is filled with hours and hours of my ums and ahs and sounds. I'm not going to cut them all because it's part of what I sound like. But I agree.
And and also like I would say to anybody out there who wants to start a podcast, people tend to prefer just like they're just like a fly in a wall listening to a conversation, right? So all the social stuttering, as you pointed out, and all the idiosyncrasies of human speech are actually a bonus as opposed to a flaw. Like they're a pro, not a con. And that's how I feel like it should work. That's what I would prefer to listen to. I mean, some people just want to hear somebody speaking professionally the entire time. And if you want to do that, cool.
Yeah.
But if you want to do that as a podcaster, I really hope you have extreme amounts of patience, because editing is going to be difficult. So
yeah, agree. Okay, great. Well, aside from those things, and what is the best birthday gift you've gotten this year?
Oh boy, I don't ask for a lot of birthday presents. I mean, I get to the point where I don't even think my stepson knows it's my birthday today. I didn't say anything when he left for work. But the best birthday presents, well, my two bio sons got me Space Marine 2. It's just showed up. I've installed it. Very excited about Space Marine 2.
I want to play it so bad.
But also Nicole got me a death whistle. And so I have a physical death whistle, which is fucking cool. And then
what is a death whistle?
Ooh, check this out. I'm gonna see it. It is an Aztec ritualistic device. I'm still learning how to play this thing, but it's an instrument.
I heard nothing.
Really?
Yeah, maybe Discord filtered it, because Discord has like an auto filter that will pick up like typing or something like that.
It sounds like a high pitched like shriek.
Okay.
And maybe that's why it did that, because it sounds like static or something like that. But
sure.
But sorry, dear listener, but like, yeah, it's a high pitched shrieking noise. I am fascinated by death whistles. So and Mesoamerican cultures. I mean, went to school for history. I love history. I especially love other cultures and so, in fact, the first track off my last album is I don't know how to say it. Siobhan Maroleth is Welsh for death whistle, and it has like samples of death whistles and stuff in there. So it sounds like someone shrieking, and that was really awesome. Very sick present from my wife, and also fried chicken today and new boots. So the boots weren't really a gift, but like the fried chicken was, and that was really, really good.
Excellent. I'm glad that fried chicken got an honorable mention in amongst the other presents.
Yeah.
Making mention of something that is impermanent. But,
yes.
That's okay.
The memory remains.
You were enriched by it.
Literally.
Great. Splendid. I was going to ask you a follow-up question. Oh, yeah. So into history and runs a podcast. Have you listened to so you mentioned podcasts earlier and how you don't listen to them. Admittedly, I do not either. I literally started making Void Signal almost in the absence of ever hearing almost any other podcast. And I didn't bother researching who else was out there and what they were doing before I started, because I didn't want to, I wanted to make my own thing and go my own way, whatever, figure it out on my own. And if it sucks, okay, that's my fault. I don't care. Dan Carlin's Hardcore History is like
familiar with it. Yeah.
One of the only podcasts I listen to. And I feel like as a history guy, it is a thing that I should urge you to check out, because it is less of a podcast and more of not quite an audiobook, but like a pleasant history lecture being given to you by somebody who is not a history professor, but this guy did all the readings for class, and he's going to tell you the highlights, the best parts. And he's going to do it all with this great podcasty Heath Ledger Joker sort of a grizzled voice. It's great. It's fantastic. And he has got great jokes. Anyway, if you like history and you like interesting lectures, Dan Carlin, Hardcore History.
I have heard, I have checked out Hardcore History. It's really good. The reason why I don't listen to a lot of podcasts is because I watch YouTube. I watch things on YouTube and I'm engaged fully with that. But I can't, like if I'm writing something or working on something like that or music, I can't listen to a podcast. So, but sometimes I will, like a couple times a year, check out something. Hardcore History is one of those things. I'm trying to remember, it's a 30 Years War thing. I'm trying to remember the last thing I heard. It's been a while, and it is really good. If you're in the podcast, or if I'm going on like a road trip, definitely podcasts, right? Like,
yes, definitely if you're going on a road trip, because it is long, hours and hours of this shit, but it is worth listening to. Like it is. Riveting, captivating. I could only endeavor to make Void Signal as good. Awesome.
It's a professional podcast.
Yeah, it's a professional
for sure.
I'm a fucking amateur. So
amateur hour. That's okay.
That's right.
You're good. Your stuff is good. Don't worry.
Thanks, man. I do what I can, and I'm happy with it. It's fine. Okay, what is coming up on the horizon for Steve Saunders and Skull Cultist, and what are your next steps, next projects, and sort of on the on to that question.
I am currently working, well, I got the shows, I'll get that in a second, but album wise, I have a follow-up to Hardcore Rituals called Crushing Invocations. And that will have remixes of Rivet Hammer and maybe a couple other tracks on it, but there's some bands doing remixes. There's an excellent one that my buddy Tachyon Crisis Talon out of the UK did. It's like a 10-minute drum and bass version of Rivet Hammer. And it's fucking amazing, man. It is so good. My friend Tess did a remix. It's like a sort of like a Euro EBM dance. I should probably talk to Matt. He was going to remix something like Caustic. He got the kid a while back. He asked to do it. And I'm like, yeah, man. Lovely human being. And there's some other remixes coming out for it. There will also be new tracks. I got my buddy Caleb from Lost Masters, which is a really excellent project out of Spokane. He's a very old friend of mine. And he's going to be laying down vocals for JV Death Squad or whatever that turns into. And I heard this is first vocal takes, and they're awesome. Mm-hmm. So I'm also working on, me and Nicole were just talking today about working on the next Orthocaris album. Got some other stuff on the go with music, but that's pretty much it. I got to probably finish scoring a film I was a producer on, and that is something I'm noodling around with. There's apparently another project, a Knights or Ebby project I've been noodling around with, which I'm going to send some stuff soon. Mm-hmm. Somebody very handsome. Mm-hmm. And then so also I got live shows coming up I'm preparing for. We got one on the 20th here in Victoria with Eva X, Normoria, Landscape Body Machine, and my buddy DJ Corvix, who DJs with me on the Goth Nights here, and Skull Cultist, of course. And then that's going to be a fun, like, underground DIY show because I'm setting everything up. That'll be fun. And then there are plans to play in Calgary and Edmonton later in the year. I got booked for a festival in not the summer. I probably shouldn't say anything too much detailed on this, but like I got booked for a festival I wanted to play. And then I'm supposed to play another festival, which that other festival wanted me to play this year. And I had film commitments, so I couldn't do it, which I kind of teared up because that is the festival I've wanted to play for a decade. And the fact that the guy that runs the festival likes my shit and wants me to come play it there, I about died. So, but I was also shocked that this other festival was like, hey, can you come do like a first or second slot? And I'm like, yeah. And I am interested. Can I prepare for all that? It's gonna be like the year for Skull Cultist, I guess. And then after that, I have another album called Groveling Worship Machine that I'm also working on. And that's a full album, like not a follow-up companion piece, like Hardcore Rituals with Crushing Invocations. Groveling Worship Machine is another thing I'm working on. And that's probably due out, I would say, May of next year is it's hard to, I hate telling people when stuff's coming out because it's always going to be late. So they'll fiddle with it. And then other stuff, but like I'm working on a D&D, third-party D&D adventure for a friend. Hired me to do this adventure module, which is cool. Writing that. Or co-writing it, it's a better way to put it. And then, just stuff, lots of stuff. Like the main music stuff, like the Skull Cultist stuff is what I was talking about. And like, it'd be nice. Fun. Yeah.
For sure. Just to chime in real quick on one of those things, because I'm so excited. The Nitzer Edged, the band is kind of an idea that began as a joke. And you are the most recent recruit, the bulk of the talent, honestly. But like the ratios are way off. But anyway, there's three of us. And it began as a joke between myself and the beautiful, handsome, wonderful Ryan Hollingsworth. So handsome, so fashionable. Man, his fashion game is just out of control. Good.
Tight.
Excellent. Wonderful human being. Very funny. He at Dark Force Fest this year, after catching Itzareb, we were joking about shouting instructions at each other, and I discovered he does the fucking most amazing Nitzareb. And Nitzer Edged was born. So Steve Saunders has agreed to join us in this adventure to make at least a song. If nothing else comes from it, at least one will be made.
I'm honored to be a part of it. Murderous is one of my favorite songs of all time. I like Nitzareb is a huge influence and amazing. Speaking of collaborative projects, I'm also a part of Gutter Press Corps, which is Craig from Bixley and Scott from Beta Virus. And we have a track on the Industrial Workouts thing called More Weight. and we're going to be working more on that. So I'm also part of another super group, if you will. And that's the other thing that's going on. I don't want to leave those guys out because I don't know if you've heard the new Bixley album, Computer Club. It is now my vote for best album of the year. It's not my own. It's Mortal Realms album, but Stab in the Dark. But I would say Computer Club by Bixley is a close runner-up, and that's not a backhanded compliment. It is a fucking awesome satire song that everyone should hear. So Craig and Scott are the main talents on that one. I can't compete with those guys. They're just so much better than I am at what they do. I'm super stoked to be a part of it because I want to do kind of like, you know, a Knights or Ebb Wolf Bandy type like projects. So like that's been on my back burner for a very long time. So
it was so fortuitous that it worked out because neither Hollingsworth nor I have the fucking talent to make music. And I asked somebody else who was interested but too busy. You were looking and we found you. And I'm super excited to make a thing that's going to be fun.
Will it sound like Knights or Ebb? I don't know. Like I can try to emulate that, but then I'll start like fucking around and you'll be like, no, Steve, no. And now it sounds like Scooter. Everything sounds like Scooter.
Close enough. Then, I mean, you just got to get it close, you know. Like close, but close, but a little darker, sexier, maybe, because we're about edging. You know. So.
That's right. Yeah. I think it's awesome. I love like that kind of shit. Like where I will say it's what I miss about it. One certain person who I had to sever ties with, and that's why I love that whole. Maybe one day I can get you guys to collab with me on finally doing a cover of Stigmata. But Gymkata. Oh, it's a shitty ninja movie from the 80s that you have to see. It's just garbage, but it's one of my favorite shit movies, and it's gymnastics, and it's got this gymnast as a star, and he fights people, and it's like a death race, sort of a last man standing kind of competition that this fictional country has.
I would maybe participate and be interested if we could get an actor who looks like young Jurgensen to do some maybe imitation like martial arts moves that we could film.
Oh, I could get Ruby. I don't know if Ruby looks like Al, but
see, it needs to look like a young Al Jurgensen. I'm thinking the Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste tour era Jurgensen.
Ooh,
we're looking for that one, but doing martial arts. If we could find an ogre lookalike to do martial arts with them, even better, and then I would 100% be on board to help.
Hell yeah, that would be so much fun. Yeah, because it's like it's a dream of mine, and that person said they didn't want to be the Weird Al of industrial music, and they kind of became the Richard Spencer of industrial music. I just like parody shit, and I'm a big dork. So
parody stuff is fun. I think the execution needs to be right, because a lot of parody stuff will sort of rub me the wrong way, because I'm like, you run the risk of being too silly and just sort of being like, you know, the whole thing's a joke. Whereas what I'm hoping to accomplish with Nitzer Edged, and I'm not trying to turn your interview into a thing about me or a thing I'm involved in or anything, but cool. Like what I would like to sort of accomplish with it in those regards is that like it is not a parody, but it's a tribute. It's a joke we're making a joke of a thing we like and we're doing our own version of it so that people can laugh and like, you know, have a good time. Because like you were saying, that was a thing that I did appreciate and love about a particular person that used to be in the scene was, here's a fun thing. We're going to just like have fun for a minute and like, it's going to be about, you know, chill stuff. Like it's okay because this music is for everybody because it's so like low stakes. You know what I mean? Like it's not trying to be high art. It's not trying to be the number one dance hit of the year, or it's not trying to be on a soundtrack to a film. It's not trying to be some wonderful, magnificent expression of art. It's just trying to be a thing that people laugh about and have a good time listening to for a minute.
That's right. That's why Shrimp Glockenspiel is one of the best songs ever made. And I'm also thinking like, we should just recruit Matt. Be like, hey, Matt, you should be in our parody of Ministry. I think he knows what Gymkata is. He's old like I am. So
yes, he is.
Yeah,
quite
he's an ancient
I've
human.
Observed him in person, so I can attest.
When he gets his walker out, you know, and it's like looks like an AT-AT. Yeah. You're old, Matt.
I saw him at Mechanismus. He just came stumbling outside like, wow, the man looks like a fucking mess. That is an absolute joke, Matt. I love you so much. I mean, I don't. He's okay.
He's okay.
He has enough people that love him. It's okay.
Yeah. We can hate him. We got a Matt finale hate club.
He doesn't need me.
Yeah, that's fine. He doesn't need me either. Fuck you, Matt.
I don't want to keep you too long, so I will put the last question of the podcast to you, which is, what is something that you've been enjoying recently? And your answer can be anything, book, TV show, movie, just what's something that you're jazzed about?
Oh, man. I'm glad you asked this last question because we might be here for a while. So let's see. What have I been into? House of the Dragon. I was really into that truncated season until they stopped it, and I was sad. I am a massive nerd. Like I play a lot of Bannerlord and like a Game of Thrones mod, and really into that whole universe and reading that stuff. What else am I really into? I just saw Terminator Zero. I'm also a giant Terminator fan and really enjoyed it. It's an anime Terminator series. I highly recommend. It's on Netflix. They really play with it's one of the best takes on how time travel works. When they get into the weeds on that, like the last 3 episodes, it's only like 8 episodes, so in half-hour episodes. So it's only 4 hours of your life, and I recommend it. It's still, I'm not a huge anime fan. It's a lot of like the usual anime tropes, but I didn't really mind them, and I really enjoyed it. I still need to play Baldur's Gate 3, so I'll probably be in that soon. I'm really into spoiling our cats, as always.
Good answer. Yes.
Azrael and Mothra.
Animals should be spoiled.
And I'll probably be diving. Another thing I'll probably be doing soon is people have been asking me what's next charity compilation that we're going to put out. And because I've worked with my friend Brian Knoll on 2 Insulin Shocks and Guts and Glory, which was an excellent double compilation that came out. They were like Bandcamp comps, and then the first one was the Turnus Memoria that we did for the BC Cancer Foundation because of Vicky, and that's kind of started this. So I've got 3 compilations under my belt. Everyone involved is always awesome. Like we had Leatherstrip on the last one, and that was cool. A lot of great people. Like every track is just solid. So, but I kind of want to do those like once every 6 months or a year because it's just time consuming, and I really enjoy doing it, but it I only have so many hours in the day.
Sure. Do you real quick, would you need help, or do you need help with like recruiting people to do that?
Always could use the help. I'll drop you a line, man.
Yeah, let me know, because I know a ton of people who would love to contribute to a thing that's for a good cause.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome. Thank you. The problem with the first 2 comps, if there's any problems, is there's just too many people that say yes. And there's so many, and I don't want to say no to anyone because everything that's being contributed is amazing. And I'm like, the first one had like 106 tracks, something insane like that. And then Insulin Shocks had like 67 tracks. Like it was crazy. And that's why we split Guts and Glory into 2 volumes, and Guts volume and Glory volume. And that's still like, Jesus, 60 tracks total. Like it's a lot. And but still, like but I also don't care because it's for a good cause. If you're dropping $5 on a comp, just whatever you can, and you get like 70 tracks out of the deal, I don't see it. The downside is stuff gets buried in the mix because who's gonna listen to? Yeah, that's a lot of stuff to listen to. But like everyone, I donated $1,000 each to the Martha Peace Washington Foundation and the Trevor Project, and then Insulin Shocks was the Diabetes Research Foundation. So it's been great. Like people like them and support them, so that's cool. I want to do another one. I don't know what the next cause is going to be. Guts and Glory was pretty personal because that was the result of the person we're alluding to throughout the podcast. And thanks to them, because people came together for a lot of trans artists and queer artists. That was great.
I just want to chime in there really quick that, that is a thing that I have discovered, that betrayal is a very strong glue in bonding people.
I even have a track called that. Yeah.
It is amazing how close and how allied and on the same side you can suddenly feel with someone when you are betrayed by the same person. And this scene has shitty Bryans in it, and good riddance to him.
It was super funny too. And I mean, anyone's going to figure this out. That's okay. I don't mind talking about it. But like I was telling Nicole, like, I got to talk to Brian soon. She's like, okay, which one? Brian Knoll? or Brian from that podcast. I'm like, oh, Brian from the podcast. Because Brian Knoll is rad, by the way. Brian Knoll is like a mensch. And so there are non-shitty Brians out there. So, yeah.
I have learned that my nickname on the East Coast is Good Brian.
Good Brian. See, yeah. I like that. That's great. Like, I call you Void Brian. But yeah, you're right about how betrayal and a lot of people will shuffle off as drama. And there is a lot of drama, don't get me wrong, and people canceling each other and doing things. But like in that particular situation, I mean, I wrote a track called A Betrayal, which is on my last album, which you can find on Bandcamp and all streaming services. It was very personal. And because I felt like, not that the guy didn't betray me. I will say that in terms of like, if there was money and all that stuff, that Brian was cool about it. Like, I'm not going to lie and say that they're an utter piece of shit. In those regards, that Brian was supportive, cool, gave everybody that was in comps their cut. So in that case, totally fine, not a problem. And we'll never denigrate them over that. So got to give credit where credit is due. But like, it was more like a betrayal of like, I just didn't understand. And then how they acted about everything just really rubbed me the wrong way. I've been friends with that guy since like 2016. I was in their band live a few times. They're, did a podcast together. I was pretty, attached, like, and then, but then you realize like, are we really good friends? Like, I don't know, man. Like, we never really had super deep conversations, and they always avoided politics. Like, all the flags were there, but how you don't want to see that or whatever. So I don't hate the person. Well, when they released their diss album, I was like, that's weirdly unnecessary, but okay. And that's how Guts and Glory came about.
I'm a very empathetic person. I try to meet people where they're at, and I try to understand their reasonings for the things that they do. But when someone does something heinous, admits to it, and is unrepentant, even in the face of like, hey, you hurt these people with your stupid actions, your selfish actions, or you hurt me with your actions, or you stole from me, or you did these things that you are guilty of, that you admit, and there is no apology given. Like, that is the point for me when it becomes like, this might have been a thing I would have let go of, like, he's a shitty person and I'll let it go. But that when you remain unrepentant and you don't offer an apology to anyone, that's when I want to hold you extra accountable. And that's why I will not let it go. Not anytime soon.
I do agree. Like, and especially if it affects you personally. I get people if it's not affects personally, like the situation you were talking about a different Brian. I did not experience that, right? So where I do empathize with your situation, of course, like, and I'm like, but like maybe somebody doesn't know the other Brian, right? Like, and they go, I don't get it. That's cool. That's fine. I felt personally betrayed or hurt, and I'm not going to force that on anyone else. But like, one of the things though, that like, it's how people, like you were saying, like about accountability, how you deal with it. Like, for instance, with the Brian I was speaking about, like I saw some posts, like once in a great while, I'll just check in to see, but like not really that much, because I just don't want to, I just want to ruin my day like that. But I see this person open up to them in a comment, right? They open up about like how they're queer and how what they did really hurt them. And they really hope that they can realize what they've done. And honestly, it was a heartfelt comment, man. It was like, I felt it. And I was like, it wasn't mean. That was the other thing. It wasn't mean. And I'm like, I immediately felt like if I see this guy, I'm going to beat the fucking shit out of him. Like, how dare you say that to somebody that's opened up to you like that, man? Like, the least you could just do is ignore it. I mean, just ignore it. If it like, but just saying barf and like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm speaking figuratively. I'm not threatening anybody, but the feelings were there. And I'm like, what a motherfucker. And
I have,
I'm like, feelings. Yeah. And it's like
some of my closest friends in the world are trans, and fuck that guy. Like, fall in front of a bus. I don't care.
Like, it's one, like, hey, you know what? Like, I have friends that like up here in Canada that are conservatives, right? Like, and we're friends, like, it's okay. They're not like bad people. Like these particular people I'm speaking of, they're not bad. They're like, both, to be fair, Canadian conservatives are not nearly as bad, but usually, but but like, we'll discuss politics, and it's a good, I know where they stand, right? Like, it's the discussion is spirited sometimes, but it's a good back and forth. And at the end of the day, we respect each other. And they know I'm like a leftist freak, and I'm like basically a tanky communist, but that's okay, because we can still be friends, because we have other interests that we can talk about. It's very similar to being friends with Republicans in the early 2000s, I guess. That's cool. I just like discussing things and talking to people. and that's cool. But like, some people, like some of the stuff out there is like very toxic, and like it just seems like why do you feel that way? I don't understand. But I'm also not going to stand in the way of their life, because life is just, if they want to sit around and look at cat pictures and jerk off to like Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever, then cool, I guess.
I think that hearing perspectives that are not your own, there's value in that.
Absolutely.
Not only because you might hear something interesting, but you're hearing how someone else sees the world and how they have experienced it. Sometimes the value of that information is that in order to make your own opinions and positions unassailable, you should know what people have to say against you and against it. Like, what are their arguments? You should know what they have to say and why they're saying it so that you can defend yourself. Discourse is the method by which we win hearts and minds. There's value in hearing what people have to say, providing that they're giving it to you in a manner that's calm or, a dialogue. But
yeah, I know if somebody like listens to my music and says, yeah, but Rivet Hammer, you're telling people to go burn it the fuck down. I'm like, okay, yeah. But also I'm very much a dialogue person. I can talk to literally anyone, and I will give them the respect that all human beings deserve initially in conversation. If I don't know someone, I immediately respect them. The whole earning respect thing I always never understood, because how does that happen? But like, you give everyone the credence, you give everyone their due respect when you meet and talk to them, and you let them. People earn my disrespect. That is usually how that occurs, as opposed to you have to earn my respect. That's not necessary. I respect you anyway.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of speaks to the other point I wanted to make there really quick, is that like, while there's value in hearing perspective, don't be a spectator to unfairness or stupidity. Like, speak up, like be the person in the crowd. Even if you were the only one, be the person who speaks up and says, hey, this isn't right. Like, that is a goal we should all endeavor to have. So yes, listen to what people have to say, but if you coerce them with your words, but don't sit by and just let a person say like whatever, because if you do that, then sooner or later you might find yourself sitting at a table with like, oh, that's my racist uncle, and that's my aunt's also kind of racist, and my brother is, and then you're the person sitting there quiet that doesn't say anything. That's an example, but I mean, you take my meaning.
I do. And I will also add, I agree with you. And I also add, like, not everyone can speak up the way everyone else speaks up. Like, like whether it's anxiety or you don't know what to say, and that's okay. Yes. There are many ways that you can speak up. Support organizations with your money. Vote, right? Like that's your voice, right? Like you can vote. And yeah, the system's broken and shit, but still voting, especially locally, is super important. And then other ways, your children, if you have kids, right? Like, I was very, very with my sons, especially, but also my stepchildren. I came in their life when they're like 11. We, all three of us, like me, my ex-wife, and my partner, our homes are open places for them to discuss. And weirdly, all four of our kids turn out to be progressive, not religious kids, but we didn't force it on them. We wanted them to make their own decisions. And sure, I'm sad when Vance, my youngest, does not want to listen to Wolf Band or Leatherstrip, but he's an icebreaker and, and some other cool stuff. So, okay. He in Liebach. Okay, cool. But like, but the thing is, like, we want to make sure there's an open dialogue and that they can speak to us. I was talking to somebody recently and they can't talk about their parents about anything. And I'm like, I can talk to my parents about anything, and our kids can talk. And I just feel bad for folks that just can't talk about anything with their parents because they never got the open dialogue. So that starts at home. And if you don't have kids, great. They are a massive money sink. Yeah, I'm kidding. I love my children. But the point is, there are many ways for people to speak up and to be involved. You don't have to, like, raise your fist in the air and start screaming at people and jump in, because
your uncle might deserve to have a sweet potato thrown at his face, but you don't have to.
So, like, I really also appreciate my quiet friends who are contemplative and observe, because they also fight in their own way. And that's great. Like, and also talk to your friends. And, there's a guy recently I talked to, and he had some real interesting 4chan spawned opinions, but they're young. And I'm like, why do you feel that way? And I'm like, oh, okay. And talked about facts and stuff like that. And it was, we made progress, because he'll listen to me, because I'm not telling him to go fuck himself. I'm actually going to listen to him as a human being. And, they're young, and I can I can speak to them, and then perhaps maybe they'll listen to me, but no one's going to listen to you. If you're telling people to go fuck themselves, you can scream that there's a fire. No one's leaving because they don't like you. And that's how that works. So try to, do what you can. Mm-hmm. Try to be respectful with people. I know it can be hard, super hard with certain people, and just avoid them, shun them if all else fails, and call them out on their shit, or like someone's doing something really, really bad. There's no problem calling them out.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that one.
Me too. Like I don't want calling someone out. Like, but there are reasons why you wouldn't want to call someone out, right? Like it could affect you professionally. It could affect your friendships.
It could be a public service announcement to prevent the abuse occurring to others.
Absolutely. It can be any number of things. Mm-hmm. And it's I mean, it's a minefield. I can see why some people like just hole up at home and play Bannerlord all day or Crusader Kings. I get it, man. Like I get it, because I don't always want to deal with it. And the older I get, the less I want to deal with shit.
Sure.
I just want to hang out with my cats and my kids, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. But,
well, to wrap, we got way off topic, but to wrap
we did.
We're
like, blah, 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 blah.
Things we're enjoying was the original fucking question. Just to answer it myself, and just real quick, like Steve and I don't exactly enjoy shitting on people. Like, it came up, was relevant. But things I'm enjoying right now for myself, I've been answering like the Wasteland Weekend thing, and I want to pick something else. You're a 40K enjoying person. A thing I've been enjoying recently is it is free to play on Steam. A Warhammer 40K Speed Freaks. It is a sort of a twisted metal kind of a style of a game with orcs, and you race around and there's like a football sort of a mode that's a blast where you're like rushing a bomb to the other team's convoy and you got to blow it up. It's a blast, and it's so fun to play. And I grew up like playing Twisted Metal and car combat vehicular games like Rogue Trip and Critical Depth. But there was another one on Xbox with planes that I was really good at, like Aces or something. If you like those kinds of games, but try this out. It's free. Like, it is a excellent toy of like, I'm going to pick this up and play it for 20 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever. And I'm going to put it down. It's low stakes. I'm going to pick this up and play with it and put it down like a video game toy.
It's fun.
It's low investment.
It's fun. I need to play more of it. I love orcs. They're just ridiculous. You mentioned Twisted Metal. Did you watch the TV show? I
have not.
Good. It's actually pretty good. Surprised me. It was pretty good.
I've heard that. Like, I still have like lifelong friends from my teenage years, like meeting up on message boards for the Twisted Metal franchise. One of them, my Canadian friend, opposite side of Canada from you, also makes music as a synther. And but we met because of Twisted Metal. I still have a signed copy of Twisted Metal Black Online that was released with you had to get a special little, it was like a router thing that went in the back of your PlayStation 2 so that you could play online. I got a signed copy of Twisted Metal Black Online signed by Dave Jaffe, who created Twisted Metal and God of War. And one of the producers, Tim something, I forget. But I still have that like framed. I'm like, it's like, I was so into those games, man. Like, so when I saw the trailer for this, I was immediately like, yes, please.
Oh yeah. If you don't know anything about Warhammer 40K, that's okay. Like, the orcs are fun. They're a bunch of like, they're space hooligans. They grow from fungus. You can't get rid of them. They're like athlete's foot on the galaxy, and they can turn anything. And it's like, they believe it will.
I love that aspect of it. It's so like, I don't know why. I love it. It's so absurd.
And fun fact, that whole like, it works because they believe it will is sort of true. It's never been fully confirmed in a 40K canon. It's sort of like fanon meets canon. But ultimately the orcs, like, they just put junk together and if shit works, and they go on a they go on the and it's like this almost like psychic energy thing, and they can just make shit work, man. And their vehicles are insane. Like, their helicopters are insane. Oh my god, the copters, and everything's like, chopper, copter. Like,
they've got these great absurd accents, like
space chavs.
So good. And even if you know nothing about 40K or Twisted Metal or anything, but you want to play a game online where you drive a car and blow up other people while doing objectives and shit, try it out. It's fucking free. Like, you have nothing to lose but an hour of your time.
Yeah. No, I fully concur. Like you got to play it. It's so much fun. Yeah. We turn into an ad for the game, but it really is good. Yeah.
It really is good. Yeah. Yeah. They can send tips to me direct.
You're your sponsor now.
Yeah. I do have a sponsor now.
Do you?
Fancy. I did. Yeah. For this most recent episode, not this past Friday, but the Friday before that, sponsored by Dark Force Fest.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I kind of made it sort of a joke, and I was hoping they would understand it was a joke, but like, I don't know.
Sure.
I did the same thing for other festivals, and one of them did book me. So it worked out. Yeah. Like, do you need to be paid? Like, I'm like, you can pay me in bottle caps. Like, it's hard taking shit seriously, but like,
it is hard taking shit seriously. That's
the best advice I can give anybody that's in a band. Try not to take it too seriously, because if you're looking to be a rock star, well, first of all, you're doing industrial music, so that's not going to happen. But like, just take it as it comes. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat the numbers too much. Just be yourself and let it happen. But easy for me to say. So not everybody can be like a hardworking motherfucker, like aesthetic perfection. That guy works hard, and it's difficult to just keep doing it and then have fun with it. Just have fun. There you go.
Just have fun.
Just have fun. Yeah. But that's great. You had him as a sponsor, dude. That's awesome.
Pretty excited about it.
An actual reason to go to New Jersey. So
yes. Speaking of which, I will be at the next Dark Force Fest. So if anybody listening is also there, say hello. I will be giving out stuff, probably. Nice. That was what I was doing at Mechanismus this year. I wish you had been there. It would have been nice to see you. But are you going to be? I was just going to say that at this Mechanismus this year, I was like giving out shit the whole time, like buttons and stickers and glow-in-the-dark bracelets and stuff. So yeah, if you see me at Dark Force Fest, come say hello.
Are you planning on attending Mechanismus next year?
I have not decided yet. It is very close to Dark Force Fest, and I'm a poor person. So
I feel you.
Keeping that in mind, maybe like I know enough people in Seattle now that I feel like, and I'm pretty likable, I probably know enough people now that I could convince them to be like, hey, let me sleep on your couch. So with that very big obstacle out of the way, I feel like it's a little bit more accessible because I don't have to pay for lodging. I can crash on a couch and that's fine.
Hey, if you have any problems with that, let me know. Like I know a metric fuck ton of people there. I mean, that's where I moved here from and used to be part of that. I worked at Music Works and all the nightclubs. I also have like a background as like a crew chief and a whole bunch of shit like nightclubs. So like I used to work like at the Catwalk and the Vogue, did a little bit at the Mercury, not too much, mainly just DJ'd, worked like the Radiohead after party, that kind of shit. But like, who are really nice guys, might I add. Yeah, like I will be taking the Clipper, a catamaran ferry over there to be there next year in attendance. Yeah.
Excellent. So, I will endeavor to make it up that way. Since I know more people in Seattle now, I could definitely make it happen. So
yeah, like if you have any troubles, let me know. Like,
we'll do.
Hook you up.
Much appreciated. Okay, well, I believe that is it.
Thanks for having me, man.
For coming on and having a chat. It has been a pleasure.
Yes, this has been rad.
So I will... Void Signal intro, courtesy of Processor. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor. Special remix for this episode by Mortal Realm. Visit mortalrealm.bandcamp.com for more Mortal Realm. And catch Mortal Realm at Mechanismus Festival 2025.